Harry's irreparable mistake. Meghan's greed for royal money sent Sussex into the bush. Hello, and a very warm welcome to LVT News Channel. Harry is well aware of the fact that his family always looks out for one another, and they were probably right, except they opened their big mouths and they started spewing all those venomous lies. Clearly, they believed they would still get their allowance in spite of their nasty behavior. And they thought they were going to get security, too, as well as all the perks that came along with their old job. Meghan and Harry probably believed that they would only need to give up the money from the sovereign grant when they walked away from the royal family now, because the sovereign grant represented only 5% of their income. They probably just assumed that their private business ventures would more than make up for the 5% loss. It looks like Meghan and Harry didn't count on the fact that they would need to pay for services like security. They just assumed they would be able to keep all the privileges of being a royal family member while abandoning their royal duties. The late Queen made it absolutely clear that Meghan and Harry would never be allowed to be half and half out royals. Meghan and Harry saw how much money other famous people were able to make, and they wrongly assumed they could also exploit their fame and make as much money as these other people. Now, I do not know who convinced them that there was a market for their brand, but boy, did that person. Clearly, Meghan and Harry severely overestimated how much interest there was in their story. They were burned with the cost of keeping up their extensive lifestyle. So maybe now, Meghan and Harry understand how good they had it when they were senior royals. If Charles doesn't subsidize their daily expenses, Meghan and Harry may have to go back to the UK. For financial reasons. Now, under normal circumstances, that wouldn't be a problem. But after all, the exposure of their fraudulent liar ways, who in the world would want to donate to their actual charities? I suspect they are broke right now, and they are increasingly desperate. I don't believe Harry could have much left of his inheritance. I think he is just waiting for his final chunk of money to come when he turns 40. Now, if Meghan Markle hangs around, until then, it's going to be gone. I don't think there are many people donating to their stupid charity, other than the few people who still want to be in good with them for whatever reason. So, first of all, most people have never even heard of our 12, especially when you compare it to an organization like the Cancer Society or St. Jude or the United Fund. And another thing is, many of the people who are involved in the type of philanthropy that make it inherited so desperate to get themselves involved with are all in a mutual kind of, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours type relationship. So if matching donations are not gotten from Meghan and Harry, it could be that their receipts are going to completely dry up, and I do not believe these $5 or $10 donations that Joe Lunchbucket might give are going to be enough to sustain their lifestyle. We've already noticed that Meghan has, how can we put it, a very loose relationship with reality. I think that she really believed she and Harry could be like the Obamas. She thought they could make $1 million off every single speech. And we all know Meghan does love to hear herself talk as a woman of color. She could go on and on about how difficult it was hearing somebody refer to her mother as the N-word without actually having to face any racism firsthand. Well, then COVID-19 came along and ruined all of their plans. Meghan had dreams of making at least $100 million in that first year. While those dreams quickly fell apart. Harry was never independent. He never really did his own thing. If Harry had ever done anything for himself, like even buy some property, then at least he would have known a little bit more about the closet and entailed. Maybe he could have developed some understanding of accounting and independence. And in and out of everyday life. Most home buyers learn a lot from a basic budget. It is clear now that Harry was well paid and most costs were covered for his travel, so he didn't learn anything about the real value of money, and that is why I do not like plastic money at all. All these government-sponsored banks are trying to convince us that we need to stop using cash, that we need to do things their way. Well, that's just so that they can play with our money. I think it's a huge mistake, because how are you going to teach kids the value of the dollar when none of them have ever even touched a dollar? There are more deaths constantly being piled on normal, everyday citizens, and it's way too easy to get into serious debt